one she'd truly loved. He'd always have a chunk of her heart. It killed her to know that she'd never see him again. I can't drag Thorpe into this. It's too risky. Anyone who knows me would assume I'd go to him first. She wrung her hands. I hate to put you in this position, but no one would suspect that I'd ask you for help. Everyone at Dominion knows I'm not your favorite person. He frowned.
I like you a lot, Callie. I just think that, as a sub, you're bratty as hell. You don't bend much more than an inch, and you don't trust worth a damn.
Callie drew in a breath and gave him a shaky nod. I know. I have reasons.
Every stubborn sub does. Look, you're not my problem anymore. I'm just laying it out there.
I really can't afford to trust anyone, but you are my last hope. I feel terrible for involving you, but more than anyone I know, you can handle it. I have nowhere else to turn. I can't go back to Dominion, ever. She rubbed her hands together and closed her eyes, praying like hell that she wasn't making the biggest mistake of her life. If she was, she could be dead by sunrise.
What the hell have you gotten into?
My name isn't Callie Ward. Nothing that you or anyone else thinks you know about me is true. He sat back in the shadows, looking somewhere between skeptical and tense.
Okay, then who are you?
My mother called me Callie when I was little, but I'm sure you know me by my full name. She swallowed. Please, God, let this be the right choice. I'm Calindra Howe. Logan's eyes nearly popped out.
The Calindra Howe, the missing heiress from Chicago?
Of course he'd heard of her. Her name had been splashed all over the news for the last 9 years. There were almost as many reported sightings of her as there were of Elvis or aliens. Poor little greedy orphan who'd killed her family for a buck, according to the press. Callie wrapped her arms around her middle. If they only knew the truth. She nodded. That one.
Bullshit. You were a pain in my ass sometimes, but you're not the kind of woman to slaughter her loved ones.
Thank you. I was framed. I don't even know by whom or why. Logan's expression turned flat.
Why should I believe you're her?
Good question. The only thing she had of her former life was her mother's Fabergé egg. But Logan had no clue it had been Cecilia Howe's pride and joy before ovarian cancer had quickly snuffed out the bright light of her smile. With no way to corroborate the egg's authenticity at the moment, Callie had left it in her backpack, shoved in the trunk of her car. I've got nothing but the truth. I'll tell you what really happened and hope that you'll believe me so that when I beg you to make me disappear for good, you will.
I'm listening.
He tossed his forearm over the steering wheel and stared, looking like an immovable mountain. Callie swallowed nervously. What you know is that 9 years ago, my father and sister were shot in our house, and that the gun was found in my room, wiped clean.
Your boyfriend told everyone that you killed them for the money the night you ran off together.
Holden had been gorgeous, defiant, wild and full of grand ideas. In retrospect, planning to run off with him had been stupid, but her 16-year-old heart had believed in the concept of soulmates. She'd talked herself into believing that he was hers. If she'd had any idea that he would end up betraying her for money, she would have never accepted that first ride in his car, or given him her virginity. He was willing to say anything for the big bounty on my head, she snorted. I was young and naive not to realize that. We'd been planning to run away together for a few weeks. His family had no money, and he had a crappy home life. When he said that he wanted me to be his new family, my young heart fluttered. Besides, I didn't want to be Calindra Howe anymore. I felt like a freak. Most girls my age took dance classes and worked a summer job to buy a beat-up car. I had riding lessons. I spoke fluent French. By the time I was 10, I'd visited every continent except Antarctica. I had a trust fund and got a Porsche the day I got my